Hey, welcome back to Making Sawdust. I have been doing plumbing and electrical this past week, but I checked the forecast today and it said sawdust! So let's get to it. Today, I'm gonna build a new stand for my camera. Tripods have a big footprint and can take up to 10 adjustments to change the height. So I'm gonna go with a rolling concrete base and a 1-inch pole to hold the camera. I wanted to do this project for a long time, ever since I saw Jay Bates and Jeremy Schmidt do something similar over 5 years ago. I've got the design laid out on paper, so let's cut the plywood that goes on bottom and build up from there. I'm on a super tight deadline today. I have to build the form and pour the concrete because in just 8 hours, I have to return the tools. Wood in this project is all scrap, which brings down the price tag but increases the number of cuts I have to make. This board in a previous life was screwed down on all 4 sides, so I need to make 4 cuts instead of 2, cleaning up every single edge. Well, you never get finished if you don't get started, so let's do it to it. The next step is to build up the walls around the wheelbase at 1.25 inches tall, so it's back to the table saw to make a few more cuts. The pieces meet at a 45-degree angle, which means you need to cut at 22.5 on each end. I've got 8 pieces of one size and 4 of another, so I'll set up a stop block at the miter saw and batch them out. I'm ready for the first of several glue ups. I need to glue these 3 pieces to each other. Best way to do that is with painter's tape. Just line the blocks up on an edge, put some glue in the joints, and pull it together with the tape. Not a lot to do while the glue dries. I can cut some squares out for the corners, but they're actually going to be pentagons. I want to wait on cutting that 5th side until I can trace it with the glue up. I'm going to let the glue cure for a full hour because I want those joints nice and strong as I pull the pieces into flatness to trace here, but also on the base cutting out for the wheel well. So while the glue dries, I will just make 4 squares and clean up the shop. See you in a bit. Just over 6 hours to go, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm going to make it because I've got 2 more glue ups to do. Off camera, I cut the blocks like I said I would. I've also already traced to turn it into a pentagon, as well as cutting out for the wheel wells. Time to take all these pieces over to the bandsaw, cut them out for the second glue up. Whew, that bandsaw takes a minute to quiet down. Well, we have made it to the second glue up, and I need to do this off camera because I need to focus on keeping everything flush, because in the third stage, we'll have boards coming around the edges. So, cut to a picture of it all in clamps. Just a little to do while that glue dries. I can rip 4 strips at 4 1/4. These will go around the edges of the base. These boards will get cut to length at the miter saw with 45-degree angles, but that really needs to wait until I can pull the clamps off and get that perfect fit in place. Not much else to do while the glue dries, but when it's done, I'll be using the table saw, miter saw, and drill press, so I might as well go ahead and pull them out, make sure they're in a good location. Okay, just under 5 hours to go till I have to return the concrete tools. Still have one more glue up to do, but I have already cut the miters for the sides. Now I need to cut out for the wheel well, which starts at the drill press, locating the corner, and then we'll finish at the table saw, cutting it out. I've got stops set up at both machines, so it should be pretty easy. They say a woodworker can never have too many clamps, but it is nice when you have enough. 18 clamps needed for the third and final glue up. Once this glue is dry, we'll be screwing on the flange, the wheels, and threading in the pipe to get ready to mix and pour concrete. We are approaching 3 hours to deadline. Let that glue dry for an hour, then I went and caulked all the seams. Didn't seem necessary, but at the same time, it was pretty easy to do, and I'd be super irritated if concrete was able to run out through one of the small cracks. I also drilled 2 holes through the pipe, added these screws. Those will act as stabilizers once the concrete is set. And then lastly, I added 2 layers of wire mesh. Again, probably not necessary, but pretty easy insurance. I think we're ready to mix concrete. Oh, but speaking of mixing concrete, so my weatherman knows what I'm working on each day, but apparently he doesn't know the actual weather. Looks like we're mixing concrete inside, but how do you like that river? So concrete needs about a quart of water per 25 pounds. For a 60-pound bag, that's gonna be about 2.5 quarts. It has been a couple decades since I mixed concrete, and I was never the guy in charge, just the guy mixing with a hoe. I need to cut the bag open, add water in stages, mixing it up slowly with the hoe, and I'll check back in with you after shoveling it into the form. Alright, now please keep in mind, I do not know what I'm doing. I know the Sawzall is good for shaking air bubbles up out of the concrete, and in addition to the shovel, I use these 2 trowels to get concrete right into where I want it and then float it out on top. I think as the concrete dries, I'm supposed to come back and float it a couple more times. Time is limited. While the concrete sets up, I can get rid of the excess and clean off the tools. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and I think it'll be good enough. Oh man, I made it. Less than 15 minutes till I leave. After an hour, I gave it a second trowel. Don't know that it made it look better, but it doesn't look bad, and I'm calling it done. Just gotta give the shop a final cleanup, load up the tools, and get out of here. Hope you have a great week, and as always, get out there and make some sawdust. Oh, and YouTube thinks you'll want to watch this video. I'm hoping you subscribe.